Welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Quorum. This is what matters to me. So, you're asking yourself, what's different today? Is it the beard? This one's going to be a little personal and mostly a medical update, and some thoughts on a campaign I have no idea when I'm going to run and who I might run it for. So spoilers for some future campaign if you might be interested in that. So this is new, and this is temporary, and this is fanciful. I do not need the eye patch. But I only need half of these at the moment. Not too long ago, I was diagnosed with cataracts. And yeah, I'm 54 years old, and I'm suffering from cataracts, bad enough that they require treatment. And yeah, apparently radiation can fog up lenses, fog up these lenses too. So still feeling a few after effects of my cancer treatments. And they do the cataract surgery one at a time. I have an amazing doctor, and they're using just these phenomenal techniques. So it's a femtosecond laser, and then they're putting in exquisite lenses. So this eye has been treated, and this eye hasn't. So I can kind of compensate by having a lens over this eye, which is still not great vision because cataracts. Everything's white again. I lost the color white for I don't know how long it's been going on. That I've had this yellow dingy lens over everything. I've been wondering why I've been getting things made out of plastic, and why is all the plastic so yellow and dingy, like the stuff that I got in the 80s that aged so quickly. It isn't. My stuff is perfectly white, and is just beautiful. All the dingy was on this end of it, apparently. So this eye's been taken care of, and there's a good deal of aftercare going into it. Antibiotic eye drops 3 times a day, which I started before the surgery, actually, so that my eye was prepared for that. I had to wear a shield over the eye when I go to sleep, so I don't touch it. No touching the eye or rubbing it or anything for a couple of weeks after the surgery. The surgery was a few days ago, so this is another week and a half or so of stuff. And then so 2 weeks of recovery for this, and then I got a week to relax, during which I start the eye drops for this eye, and I go in for the next procedure. So around the beginning of July, I'm going to have 2 eyes. When they do the lens correction, when they take out the old lens tissue and put something in there to serve the purpose, because I'm going to a very good eye doctor, and because I have people who care for me a great deal, who are helping to pay for the best treatment that I can get, I'm getting very good corrective lenses. I'm not going to need these at all anymore. This lens fell out on its own the morning of the surgery. I think the universe is trying to tell me something. I will need reading glasses moving forward, stuff for very up close. I've always had excellent up close vision because astigmatism, and that's being corrected. And the lenses I've got are excellent for distance viewing. They're incredible driving lenses, and stuff. I'm just being able to see trees and leaves and read billboards again, all of which is just gone before. It is going to be life-changing. It's going to be amazing, and I just gotta, get to that point, which is just weeks away. Another 4 or 5 episodes of this, and I'm going to be doing it through 2 good eyes, which is just going to be strange, but wonderful in all the best ways. But I realized I was going to have one good eye for a while, and there's a bit of a headache in having 2 different visual signals or two different qualities of visual signal heading to the brain. Even if I'm wearing my one lens at this point, uh, there's the good signal and then there's the foggy one, and there's a headache growing there. So something like this, it's dramatic and it's ridiculous. And I have to thank Andrew for this. He found a model of Solid Snake's Solid Eye from Metal Gear 5, I think it is. And that is a left eye appliance. So he mirrored it in his 3D printing software, mirrored it in the slicer, and printed me this one. And it took a little post work, some sanding and some painting. There's a few other things that need to be done to it. It's not really finished, but I wanted to get this recording out on time. Don't want to miss one as a result of all this stuff. So it's printed in plastic that is impregnated with carbon fiber. I don't know if that's the right term for it. There's carbon fiber in this. It's a ridiculously strong riff on the Solid Eye, and I couldn't be happier to have something as geeky and ridiculous as this to help me over this time. Kind of a cosplay cross between Solid Snake and Nick Fury. And if you cross those names up a little bit, see what kind of character I might have, both of them, but with Solid Fury and Nick Snake, they both sound like adult entertainer names. I really don't need to do that. So I'm sure that this character will have a name at some point in time. But for now, I am just enjoying the geekness of it. Having an appliance like this, and some media I've been watching, and the occasional video that pops up, I got a campaign growing in my head. And it's taken some odd turns. I want to run a cyberpunk game, but not in R. Talzorian Cyberpunk or Cyberpunk Red. I want to run it using Victory, which there's a good chunk of Victory that is actually written to emulate Cyberpunk. So that's not entirely difficult. But I want to push it down the history a little ways. So have it like 2120, give it a good 100 years, technology and space, and add some heavy sci-fi to it. Put stuff on a Martian colony, or some exoplanet, or a really a large space station with a high population. I want to upgrade the guns, and for specifically to have really high powered, angry gunplay. Not that I want to reduce the power of the guns of anything, but I want to go ridiculously high tech. Keep bullets and bangs, because I like bullets and bangs. You want to have a feel to the thing. Cyberpunk's not cyberpunk if all the guns are quiet lasers. A few lasers scattered around because it's a space game, but caseless ammunition with super high tech propellants and new material science. So you've got these ruthlessly efficient firearms that just do tremendous amounts of damage. So your gunplay is still really deadly, as a cyberpunk game should have deadly combat. But there's an issue that has been coming up in Victory games, especially with the Warriors of Wednesday, who are all, that group is rough on a game that doesn't have a staggered or stunted progression rate. The D&D game that we're doing now has a very stable progression rate. That there's a set number of sessions, that being twice the current level. So first level goes to second level after 2 sessions. They go to third level after 4 sessions, and so on. Which holds them back to about the level of progression that we want. Because Victory lets you be so flexible and do such incredible things with your imagination, because it's an imaginative group and there's builders and people understand technology in this group. They tend to overpower things, especially when they have access to science. So rather than try and stunt the group's capabilities and performance, which I don't want to do that because I really enjoy watching them play with that kind of stuff. I want to do something that is stupid, ridiculous, and out of the blue to make the opposition so much more capable and almost make it seem like they're cheating a little bit, so that no matter how good the players get with the technology and the building and constructing their own organization and what have you, that they're always going to be trailing a little bit behind until they learn the trick. If you want to be involved in this campaign or a campaign that I run like this, this is where I'm going to talk about the trick. And I don't have a timestamp for when this is going to end up, so that's probably going to be most of the rest of the video and a couple of notes at the end. I'm going to skip to just before I end. You know, look for me putting up the Patreon link. Easy to spot. You've been warned. So, a ridiculous edge in a high technology world that that is mostly science based, and where we probably scrubbed a couple of things out of the victory system for this. There might be some psionics, but magic's going to be a no go. A moda mechanica, so there's cyberware, absolutely, and maybe some psionics, but starting them at a fairly low level, so you're not going to start with just the really powerful stuff. But the bad guys just seem to be able to do impossible things. Things that you can explain, but they seem so almost impossible. Just these string of absolutely incredible coincidences that work in the enemy's favor. I'm thinking of making the opposition, Iteration X, one of the technocratic groups from Mage the Ascension. And actually have them using, I came up with a system in Victory to emulate magic systems, the freeform magic systems like Mage has. They're called quantum singing, and experimenting with that a little bit in gameplay with this group, and giving the bad guys reality bending powers. So they're all powerful and all encompassing, and there's a reason for that. That's because they can subtly alter some aspects of reality to give themselves an edge. They're going to last longer in combat. They're going to do things that are almost impossible, but you know, you can explain it. You might not like the explanation. You might think it's really convenient, but it's feasible, I suppose. Is it likely? No. Is it going to happen? With stunning regularity. And it's going to take the player characters a good while, struggling against an opposition that can just do nigh impossible things until they work out the trick themselves. And then there will be a jump in progression to where the party has access to quantum singing themselves, and might pick some of that up, might have an awakening of sorts, and realize that they can break the rules too. Sort of a Mage the Ascension, the Matrix kind of thing, where you know once you realize that you control the rules, you won't need to dodge the bullets. That has a lot of appeal to me because it doesn't hamstring the characters, the player's ability to express their creativity through their characters and to express their knowledge of technology and mechanics and electronics and whatnot through their characters in this situation that is custom made for doing exactly that. But it gives them something that they've got to worry about. And that they're going to be playing catch up for a while and trying to work out what's going on here. The Iteration X is not out to kill the player characters. They don't particularly care about the player characters. There's going to be occasional opposition, but they've got fights to fight on a dozen different streams. There's lots of people trying to get to that power that Iteration X doesn't necessarily want them to have. There's going to be a few big incidents of cyborgs going rogue and these robot things, Terminators, uh, holding down positions that shouldn't be able to be held down, existing where you might need a pressure suit or at least an atmosphere mask to get by. But now these things are going to just be hanging out, making sure you don't get ahead. The man with his heel on your head. And the player characters are going to form a very small threat to a very small portion of it, even if they make a major advance somehow through a combination of crits and brilliance, which the Warriors of Wednesday are very good at combining crits and brilliance. They managed to beat what they think is the bad guy, only to find out that the bad guy was a very small fish in a very large pond, and now they've got the attention of the larger fish, with the sharks just over there starting to smell blood. I used to start campaigns with a very, very small idea. I had a setting. I had a set piece. I had a couple of scenes I wanted to work towards. I had an idea. I have started campaigns with nothing more than an elevator pitch in the past. And there's nothing wrong with that. And those have been very good campaigns. Sometimes, though, I want to hit a goal, a mood. I want there to be something driving the campaign that is a little bit deeper than that. I don't want to make big detailed plans because big detailed plans don't last. No big detailed plan survives contact with player characters. But I want to have a deep meaning and a deep philosophy and something really going on under the surface that's got to get cracked. It's got to get cracked or the party just continues to flounder. There are folks in that group. They're in most of the groups that I run for at the moment. There are people who have experienced stuff from Mage. I might have introduced a couple of them to it, and or given them some of those experiences that I could call on to relate them over to it. So there might be wait a second, that sounds kind of familiar. It couldn't be that, could it? And let it dawn. They get that aha moment where suddenly the light bulb goes on and, oh damn, we're in trouble. And now trying to get their characters in a position where they can actually do something about this. That's a feeling, that's an emotion, that's a mood. And I am feeling that mood for a game. The campaigns I'm running at the moment have different moods entirely. And they both each have a mood of their own, and they're not something I am not looking forward to running more of. I mean, I'm very excited about this surgery took me out of games this week. That was on Tuesday, so something Tuesday night I was still kind of loopy on the anesthetics, and Wednesday I wasn't sure I was going to be anywhere near functional. So we just called it dark for this week and did some online gaming instead. But I'm looking forward to getting back to both of those games and letting them be exactly what they are. And eventually, this is on my docket. This is on my, okay, this is a game I've got that I'm going to throw up there. So when people want to play something like this, I'll have it. I'm actually writing down. I never write down notes. I never take records of these things, except maybe a line or two here and there. I'm making notes for this one. I want this to go off well. I want this to go off so well. I might actually write a product based on these concepts over time. Because yeah, there's a lot here. And I think there is enough to whet some appetites and get some people involved and produce a mood at that gaming table. You want to get a mood at the gaming table. You want that tension because the enjoyment for the game often comes in the form of tension, stress. Oh my gosh, we are going to die. And you get the endorphins, you get the serotonin, and yeah, this is a situation. We've got to work our way out of it. That's an amazing thing. It's a terrible thing to happen in real life. It's an amazing thing at the gaming table, and that escapism approach to it works really well for me. So that's what I've been toying with. I've had maybe a little too much time where I didn't want to use my vision overly much. So, and laying there for a surgery on your eye, I was well anesthetized. They told me I wouldn't remember any of it and I wouldn't care what was happening to me anyway. And half of that was true. I remember every second of it. But the anti-anxiety meds were so good, I honestly still just don't care. I'm looking forward to the second one. I'm looking forward to the second one being done. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the procedure because the procedure's not the most pleasant experience, but it wasn't the least pleasant experience I've been through. If I had a nickel for every time that shooting lasers at my face was the solution to my problem, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's funny it's happened twice. Well, that's my update, my rant, and my game concept, because I feel like I'm throwing a game concept in there's probably on brand. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, give me a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. If you have your own experiences with treatments for cataracts or surgeries or things you'd like to relate, questions about the campaign or your own ideas for how you would treat something like that, a cyberpunk campaign with some science fiction and some esoterica thrown in, questions you'd like to ask me, subjects you'd like to hear me cover, go ahead and leave me a comment below. I'll love getting your comment. You'll love leaving me one. I got a question on a recent video. Have I ever been recognized by someone from the documentary? 2 quick stories on that. I don't know if finishing up, but 2 quick stories on that. One, I am in Santa Monica on the promenade years ago, before pandemic. Gosh, it might have been 7, 8 years ago. And I'm in my favorite toy store on the promenade, Puzzle Zoo, and someone comes up to me, and a young man steps up to me and says, were you, I'm sorry, this is really weird. Were you in a documentary called The Dungeon Masters? Yeah, that was me. And he told me he really enjoyed the Dungeon Masters and whipped out his phone and had to show me pictures of the miniatures and terrain that he'd been making and painting for his own D&D campaigns because he got inspired by the Dungeon Masters. And that, oh God, that was amazing. That even that only happens once in my life. That's a just warm, fuzzy feeling all the way through me still thinking about it. And the other one did not happen to me. It happened to my friend Mandy, rest her soul. When she was at all places, of all the places she could have been at for this, she was at the Magic Castle in Beverly Hills. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. It is not a place that is open to the public exactly. She had seen a group performing on stage, doing some classic sideshow routines. And after the performances, as is usual at the Magic Castle, the performance mingled a bit with the audience. And one of the performers asked Mandy if she'd been in a documentary. And yeah, we were talking about the Dungeon Masters, and they were big fans. I'm still just amazed by the reach that thing has had, and many of you may be here because you saw the Dungeon Masters and looked me up, and thank you. That astonishes me every single time. So thank you for the question, and I hope that answers it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not? My channel is awesome. Please hit the subscribe button. If you do hit the subscribe button, you might want to hit the notification bell so you're alerted when my videos become available. If you would like to contribute to the channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum, and consider donating. Absolutely anything helps and allows me to make better videos more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. With what I hope are two good eyes. I'm Scott Corum. This is what has mattered to me. I'll see you next time on the next Matters of DeCorum.